My GP wrote in my medical notes that my respiratory symptoms were consistent with prolonged exposure to damp conditions, and my landlord's formal response to this was that I should cook with the extractor fan running. I moved into the flat in September, the start of my second year. The damp was visible by October, a dark bloom along the lower section of the bedroom wall, the kind that starts as a shadow and becomes a texture, the kind that smells of something underneath the smell of it. I reported it by email on the 14th of October. The letting agency acknowledged receipt. Nothing happened. I sent a second email in November, a third in December. By January, the mold had reached the windowsill and my GP had started asking questions about the persistent cough I had been presenting with since November. By February, she had written the letter. By the time I counted the emails in March, I had sent 43 times stamped, clearly worded communications about a property condition that was making me ill. And the sum total of the substantive responses I had received was, please ensure adequate ventilation when cooking, and we will look into it. And thank you for raising this. Thank you for raising this 43 times. The retention anchor is the previous tenant. A man called James, who had lived in the same flat the previous year, who had sent 41 emails of his own about the same damp on the same wall, who had received the same non-responses from the same agency, and who had moved out at the end of his tenancy, having never received a repair. James had kept his emails. He had kept them because he was that kind of person and because something about the situation had made him feel, as he put it when he contacted my solicitor, that he might need them one day. He had seen a brief mention of my case in a local student union newsletter. He had contacted my solicitor the following Monday. My name is Owen. I was in my second year of a computer science degree. The year I spent in that flat was the year I failed 2 modules. First time I'd failed anything in my academic career, and was referred for academic support because my attendance had dropped to 63%. The attendance dropped because I was ill in the specific persistent way of someone who cannot get a full night's sleep in a room that smells of damp, who wakes up with a chest that feels like something has been sitting on it overnight, who spends the lecture trying to remember what a well night's sleep felt like. The Landlord was a property company with a portfolio of student lets across the city. University linked in the sense that the University Student Housing Service listed them as an approved provider, which meant students searching for off-campus accommodation were directed to their listings. The approval process, it turned out, did not include regular inspection of the properties on the approved list. My solicitor was a man called Marcus, housing disrepair specialist, with the quiet efficiency of someone who has built these cases many times and knows exactly where the evidence needs to go. Marcus said, the GP letter is useful, the emails are important, but the most powerful thing you have is 43 emails with no substantive response, because that timeline removes the defense that they didn't know. He submitted the disclosure request, the formal legal process by which the other side must provide all relevant documents, and specifically asked for all maintenance records relating to the property for the preceding 2 years. The maintenance records showed 1 inspection in 2 years. 1. The inspection report described the property as requiring minor attention in 2 areas. The damp was not mentioned. James's 41 emails from the previous year were not mentioned in the maintenance records either, because they had not resulted in a maintenance visit, because they had been received, acknowledged, and filed without action for the 2nd consecutive year in a property that the company had approved and listed and profited from, while 2 tenants in succession had sent a combined total of 84 emails about a wall. The midpoint arrived when Marcus filed the disrepair claim, citing the Landlord and Tenant Act's implied obligation to keep the property in habitable repair, and attached James's email thread alongside mine. The 2 threads combined represented over a year of documented notice of a condition the landlord had taken no substantive action to remedy. The company's solicitors made a settlement offer within 3 weeks. Marcus recommended accepting. The offer covered my rent for the period of the disrepair on 7 months, compensation for the impact on my health and my academic performance, and the cost of the independent surveyor's report, Marcus had commissioned, which had identified not only the damp, but a failed damp-proof course that an adequate inspection would have detected years earlier. The settlement was accepted. I moved to different accommodation in April. I retook the 2 failed modules the following year and passed both. My attendance in the retake year was 91%, which is what attendance looks like when you can sleep in your bedroom. The wholesome part of this is James. I have never met him in person. We have exchanged messages. He sent me a message the day I told him the case had settled that said simply, "Glad it was useful." I have thought about that message many times. 41 emails that went nowhere, kept in a folder for a year, handed to a stranger who needed them. He did not have to keep them. He did not have to contact me. He did it because it was the right thing to do, and because somewhere in the process of sending 41 unanswered emails, he had decided that the record mattered, even if nobody was reading it. The record mattered. Keep the emails. Number them if you have to. You cannot know in advance which one will be the 43rd.